Chelsea Football Club have got a lot of misinformation out there about them at this moment in time, and a lot of people saying that they're going to get into financial troubles. Well, I'm here to ease your mind a little bit and to apply some logic into the situations, because headlines, not to lying to you, they're there just to trick you. Then I'm going to give you some clarity on the ownership, because the reality is nobody really understands how the makeup of the ownership is. Everyone's like, it's Bowley's club. It really isn't. I'm going to give you the breakdown of how the club is broken down, and I'm going to tell you why Iqbali is the man in charge. It's going to be very easy to explain. We're also going to take a look at Christian Pulisic and RubenLoftusCheek moving on from Chelsea and how they're actually flourishing at this moment in time. And was it a mistake to let them go? Because the reality is, under this new system, Chelsea are always going to be selling players on, and the question will be asked, was it a mistake or was it not? I'll tell you my opinion later on. So before we get started, I need a massive favor. Hit that like button, because it's the best way you can support the channel. Subscribe if you're new. We're literally 110 people away from 33,000. So if you're new, make sure you hit it. And in the comments below, I need you to explain one thing to me. Do you think it was a mistake to let RubenLoftusCheek go? And if so, why? Let's move on. So from the back, I need to give you guys some explanation, some clarity regarding the ownership of the club and how there's a lot of misinformation. At this moment in time, the common consensus is that Todd Bowley owns the club. That's wrong. Todd Bowley is the face of the consortium that have invested to get the club. There are certain individuals and as well as an entity that gathered together, put the money together and secured Chelsea. So let's think about it this way. We've got Vice, we've got Bowley, and we've got a man called Mark Walter. Three of them own 13% of Chelsea. Multiply that together, that's 39%. Apparently with a rounding, it gets to a 40% share for those guys. 60% is for Clearlake or Clearway, whatever the investment fund is called. They're headed by Iqbali. Iqbali is the face from their side, and he's the one that's leading the motivations across in regards to certain player signings. But at the same time, Todd Bowley has an input and will be the chairman for the next 5 years. But then afterwards, the chairman gets to rotate around, and they're saying it could be Iqbali. This is the thing that we need to get into our heads. Once we get that in our heads, then we can talk about this PSR situation, because a lot of people are saying Chelsea are going to be in financial difficulties. Well, as of this moment, yeah, maybe Chelsea will be in financial difficulties because we don't know what's going on. However, and this is a massive however, Chelsea have got a big sum of money coming in guaranteed, and I'm going to explain to you how it is. Let's go. The first way Chelsea have got money coming in is Lewis Hall. Lewis Hall is an individual that broke through the ranks last year under Graham Potter and looked very competent, whether it was in midfield or whether it was at left back. He prior to that had a debut under Thomas Tuchel where he played left wing back against Luton Town. I think it was Luton if I'm not mistaken, and had a very good outing. The reality is Lewis Hall is a Geordie at heart. He wanted to go back home. His father's from that side of the world and he's supported Newcastle since he was a kid. Newcastle gave him an opportunity and he ran back. So what's happening and why is this money guaranteed? He's gone on loan, and we've had direct quotes from Eddie Howe saying it is very close for him to activate the clauses to make sure that he becomes a Newcastle player, and that they're planning for him to be there for years to come. Guys, this is £30 million guaranteed that will be triggered straight away, and Chelsea will be receiving pure profit. Because he's an academy graduate, this kid is going to go straight onto the books as a profit, and also 5 million in add-ons subject to what he can achieve, but we don't need to worry about that. We just need to guarantee the pure profit coming into the door. That's the first step. The second step is Chelsea will be moving on Ian Maatsen. Ian Maatsen has a £30 million release clause in his contract. This contract was stipulated in when he signed the new deal, which in my opinion is now a mistake. However, the way things are going, we would have sold him for more money anyway. Ian Maatsen has gone out on loan to Dortmund, and at Dortmund he has done nothing more than just flourish. He has been absolutely amazing. The German media loves him, his manager loves him, his teammates love him, and more importantly, the fans adore him. Chelsea fans are absolutely crying on a weekly basis, and I'm one of them. I can't believe we let this talent go. I was screaming for him to get an opportunity at left back. Pochettino never gave it due to the physicality and the size of the kid. However, in my opinion, he is absolutely brilliant. But it looks like Chelsea will be moving him on. So the reports in Germany are stipulating that Chelsea have a £30 million release clause in there, and Dortmund have first refusal, meaning if the player wants to come, they just have to pay 30 million and the deal's done. Dortmund are going to do everything in their power to negotiate that down. They do not want to pay 30 million pounds to get this player, 35 million euros. However, and this is a big however, the queue of clubs that want this player is absolutely unreal. And the only mistake Chelsea have done at this moment in time is A, letting him go and not giving him an opportunity. But from a selling standpoint, we can't get a bidding war because clubs will literally just bid the release clause and take him. And then it just becomes persuading him and his agents that the right place for this for their client is at their club. So for Chelsea, at this moment in time, they will be guaranteeing in a minimum of £60 million. And that is before the sale of a Conor Gallagher or before the sale of Trevor Chalobah. So that's just my opinion. Now we need to move on to the next batch of stories. Chelsea also have a forgotten soldier on their hands, and I think people have forgotten this because when you think about it from a logistics standpoint, Romelu Lukaku is still a Chelsea player. Romelu Lukaku is having a brilliant season for Roma. He's a 1-2 striker. Roma have now, since the sacking of Jose Mourinho, got 9 wins in 10. They absolutely destroyed Brighton and De Zerbi. They gave him a quick 4-piece chicken wing with extra fries, extra delicious sauce on the side, and they just laughed in their face. They said there's no point of us even flying to Brighton. If we do, we're just going to chill on the beach and we're not going to play the game because we can forfeit it 3-0. That's what Roma said to them. But the reality is, Romelu Lukaku is still a Chelsea asset, and he will be getting moved on. What this loan move has done, number one, it's recreated interest for the player. Number two, it's rejuvenated the player. Number three, it's kept him fit and healthy, ready to go. Would I have preferred if Chelsea kept Romelu Lukaku? If Lukaku wanted to stay, in my opinion, Lukaku would have stayed. If Lukaku wanted to be a blue, Lukaku would be at Chelsea, because Bowley and Co, they're paying his wages anyway. They were paying his wages anyway, so it means they would have been happy to keep him because they didn't need to sign no one else. He's good enough to start for us at this moment in time. And under Maurizio Pochettino, I think he would have banged. But that's just my personal opinion. I don't know what the rest of you think. But it's not going to happen. Rom is leaving. Rom's comments after the game were very certain. Fabrizio has posted them out as well. Rom basically is waiting to stay either in Roma and make sure that they get the money. The best way that can happen is if Roma secure Champions League football. As it stands, Italy will get one of the 5th place spots that will guarantee 5 teams in the Champions League next year. Roma looks set to be qualifying through that, meaning they're going to have money and meaning Romelu Lukaku could be a viable option for them. If Romelu does not stay in Italy, I could see him go to Saudi Arabia for a lot of money. The only problem there is 35 million or 40 million release clause that Chelsea have agreed in gentleman handshake. I don't know whether that gentleman's handshake is going to mean a lot. However, and this is a big however, at this moment in time, Romelu Lukaku will most probably be leaving Chelsea, as he should. So Chelsea will be able to manage that onto the books. Now think about it. 30 million Lewis Hall, 30 million Ian Maatsen, and then Romelu Lukaku for the remainder of his contract divided by the fee. I think this is good business, and it will put us in a safe and secure place. Meaning, after that, any money we make, we can start spending on players. And for me, I'm no accountant, but I know it doesn't work on net spend. Right, it works on the way that you amortize the contracts, and it's too complex for me to go into detail here, especially when we haven't got the numbers at hand. The papers aren't there for me to read, digest, and then break down for you. But what I'm going to say is, don't panic, don't bite at the clickbait, and just be a little bit more reserved. Come to the sources that you know aren't going to try to trick you. For example, I'm going to be realistic and honest. When the club needs a hiding from me, I'll be there. When the club needs a little bit of praise, I'll be there. When we need a little bit of optimism and down-earth nature, I'll be there. So make sure you'll be here. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. And now let's move on to the final segment of the video. So 2 players have gone out on loan, on a permanent leave, and they secured around about 30 to 40 million pounds for Chelsea. I think with add-ons, RubenLoftusCheek and Christian Pulisic will go up to 20 million pounds apiece. And both players have had very good seasons. RubenLoftusCheek has been playing in the number 10 role, and Pioli has really entrusted him to essentially play in behind Olivier Giroud with Christian Pulisic on the right and Rafael Leão on the left. And all I'm going to say is, Ruben Loftus-Cheek is having the best season of his life. He has played a lot of games, he stayed fit, he looks healthy, and I would be making cases for him to go to the Euros with England. However, I know Gareth Southgate, I know the way he selects players. Jordan Henderson and Calvin Phillips will be on that plane in comparison to an actual asset in Ruben Loftus-Cheek at this moment in time. Ruben's really developed his game, and what I really like about Ruben's game right now is he's really simplified it. He's in the 10 role, he drops into the 8, picks up the ball, carries it forward. He's assertive in the box, whether it's with his finishing or whether it's with his heading, which I think from corners has become a really good threat. It's to the point now we've got his little celebration where he's doing this with his hand every time he's about to score a goal. So it just tells you how confident he is. But is it a mistake to let him go? I don't think so. I think Ruben spent too much time at Chelsea where he wasn't a starter, to the point where the fan base started to perceive him as a squad player. The narrative he isn't good enough for Chelsea really caught on. The narrative that he's never going to be good enough, and whenever we lost, it was always his fault. And for me, that stuck. He had to move on. He had to go somewhere else. He had to redevelop himself. He had to rebuild. And in Italy, he's viewed as a star. And for me, I'm very happy for him. I can't wait to see how he develops. And hopefully one day he comes back to the Premier League. And hopefully he's to Chelsea. Like, I genuinely like the player. I've got a lot of time for him. Great player. Christian Pulisic is another one. Pulisic has got 8 goals and 7 assists, if I'm not mistaken, this season. He has been on absolute fire. Like, in the context of getting goals and assists in the right times and the right places, he's just doing his job. Like, at the end of the day, I think Christian Pulisic's biggest problem was he never got a run of games. When he did get a run of games, he got injured. And when he didn't get a run of games, he was inconsistent. So it's just poor timing, poor situational awareness. And I actually feel sorry for Christian Pulisic. I've always said, Pulisic's not a bad player. It's just, what is Pulisic's level? I think Milan, at this moment in time, is Pulisic's level. I think in that league, he has got tremendous physical ability in comparison to a lot of the defenders that he's coming up against. He's got great ball striking ability, and I think he's a very good player. Whether I think he's a Chelsea level player at this moment, yes, because Chelsea's 11th. However, I would say Christian Pulisic in the long run isn't what I think Chelsea needed. And I don't think Chelsea is what Christian Pulisic needed. I think he needed to move on. Genuinely, the fans would never see him as anything else. The fans had got to the point with him where all the pent-up frustration was anti-Christian Pulisic. It's actually really interesting considering he was a vital role in us winning the Champions League. We never loved him. I don't know many Chelsea fans that loved Christian Pulisic. Like, there's a segment of fans that love Kai Havertz. I'm one of them. There's a segment of fans that speak so highly of Timo Werner. There's a segment of fans that speak so highly of Jorginho, Kovacic, Kante, right? Everyone loves Kante. But Pulisic, I don't see that segment. I don't see that element of fans that just go, oh my God, we really should have. He's like the forgotten child that we sent away. Like, he's gone on somewhere, he's doing really well for himself, but he's never mentioned. But this was the Kavkas View, guys. I hope you lot enjoyed this video. I thought it was an interesting, positive video to make. I just wanted to keep everyone's minds at ease a little bit because there's a lot of negativity. So what I want you guys to do right now is, number one, it's given the nature of the video where we're talking about Ruben Loftus-Cheek and Christian Pulisic leaving, here's a video on the best Cobham side that have left, that have graduated from Cobham. And it's the 11 players I think that are best resigning it. Make sure you go watch it. And if you want an extra news about any managers that Chelsea could be linked with, here are the pros and cons about De Zerbi and Amorim. I think it's a good video to watch as well. If you haven't, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys soon. But make sure you just go watch one.